What's cooking, folks? Vermillion Phoenix here, and today we're jumping into some more Orcs Unchained. This time we're heading to the castle gates with Cygnus. So the castle gates is a relatively small map, and that being the case, that means that Cygnus shouldn't have too many issues with his lack of mobility options. His movement speed isn't great, but the damage he puts out is. The caveat with that is usually on shorter maps you have a good amount of space to play around near the rift so that you can make use of his Rift Lord passive ability, but it's not really the case here because it's guarded by this wall section that's in the front right behind the courtyard. So you're really going to be fighting away from the rift most of the time, and because of that you'll need to make sure that everything you bring is up to doing the job. Not going to bring too many fire traps here. Actually, I might. They do work pretty well versus groups, and there's some areas where you can get a lot of enemies in single file or just set a whole lot of people on fire. And while the Wuxing, the group that is fighting here, has soldiers that are resistant to magical damage, fire damage, due to the fact that most of the traps that cause it will connect with multiple enemies when they fire, actually kind of beats the odds on how much damage they can put out versus their cost. So they're still not bad to use, they're just not optimal. Unfortunately, due to the tiny space available on this map, there's not too many super optimal traps that you can put up, but where's the babies? These are okay, and actually we can put you up here. Floor spikes perform amazingly well here as well. So this should pretty much be what we're going in with. Let's go ahead and get this set up and we'll see how it goes. Now, you have the option of blocking off this lower area or the one up top. Personally, it doesn't really matter which one you decide to use. They can both be pretty good, but you get more ceiling space over there than you do here because of the way that this is set up. Here, this area here counts as walls. So you get to choose whether or not you want to use a significantly larger amount of wall traps or ceiling traps. And it's up to you to decide how you want to do it. Now, Cygnus's main form of damage, lightning, will be a bit weaker here due to the fact that everybody's just a little resistant to lightning magic. But otherwise, you should be able to do all right.
Good spot for this.
All right, so we got that set up. Let's go ahead and get this started. Everybody should curve to the left.
Opened a minion portal.
We already have our guardian in the room that they'll be pathing to. Now the giants, terracotta giants that they start out with here can slow you down a bit, so you want to be very careful. We actually want to start setting this boy up now.
They've broken through a gate.
Now these guys don't have the elemental resistance, it's everybody else that does. So, oh. There's also a lot of elementals that they like to use on this map, and that is very, very dangerous. I'm gonna take Silver Streak because it is very good.
More explosions is always good, yes? It is important to have a sense of one's relative power level.
You want to be careful about where you decide to place any sort of floor scorchers. If they're too close to the barricade there, you will wind up pushing some enemies over. And that you definitely do not want to do. This seems to be far enough. I think I can actually get it back just a tad farther right there. And that should be safe. Gonna take Paternal Instinct. And they're starting at the bottom. So I really don't have too much to do yet.
Watch out! Our enemies have broken through again!
I think most of what I'll be able to do here is going to be somewhere around here though.
Good spot for this. Good spot for this. They've broken through a gate! Right there. Good to be trapping again.
Alright, so
We don't have enough coin for that.
that's going to be a little important. Just making sure we have those set up for any bosses or, in this case, mercenaries that happen to come through. And they should be able to disable the ceiling traps.
I am having flashbacks.
Oh wow. Yep. Gonna use that for the HP regen. The combos and everything else that I've done up until this point have done a good job of building this up for me. I actually wanted to sell that, and it didn't even sell. I pushed the button. Must have been right as the timer ended. But I wanted to sell this for a slow. Those should be firelings. They're coming through right here. Alright, gonna grab Ornery Old Timer to take care of the bigger guys just a little bit faster.
Many minions, one lightning strike.
Alright, and you can see that Cygnus is able to deal a competent amount of damage even though the enemies should be a tad resistant to his lightning. I'm gonna head down here and kind of have an idea what I want to set up already. Even here. So anyway, we wanted to block this area off a bit.
Perfect.
Force them into a line. Flip them.
I do love traps. Good to be trapping again. Perfect. Our enemies, they're breaking through again.
And then in the alcove, we'll place a couple ballista. We'll get, I should have placed a couple BGHs first, but we'll get those up eventually.
They've broken through a gate. With age comes wisdom.
There we go.
Right there. Good spot for this.
All right.
Perfect.
And that's pretty much it for the majority of this area.
A boss is on its way.
That boss should be coming from top of the screen. And if everything is done right...
My connection with the rift is growing stronger.
Oh, it froze me. Jeez. Oh. Oh no, this is Lysander. I'm sorry. There's a situation where you're gonna get a couple of guys coming from both ends of the screen, but it's only when the top and the top and the bottom lanes are open, and we're not there yet. The Guardian was actually able to clean up just about everything there, which is really nice. I think this is that situation that I was just talking about.
I do love traps. Just like old times. Rotate. Perfect. Our barricades are under attack. Good spot for this.
The barricades will be under attack because of fire elementals. And there you see them. The ones we have to worry about are these earthy boys over here. The good thing is lightning damage still has all of those amazing properties that make earth elementals actually worse. You would think that they would probably be resistant to lightning damage in some way, but it's actually better against them than it is against just about anything else, because it kills the spawns.
The boss minion has entered the battlefield. Just like old times.
So one of these has Gaiden, one has Urza. This is the Urza. The Urza is probably the least important one. The Gaiden you want to make sure you're ready for. All of them will be coming through here. They won't be stopped by anything else you set up, so you want to be extra careful. Just because they are not affected by any of the tar, which you're primarily using to slow everybody down. All right, and with that done,
Right there. That goes there.
pretty much free to do whatever else you want. All right. And because of the BGH ballistas over here, you really don't have much to think about. Anything that's dangerous is going to have to come from this way. You can actually go in and trap up the areas closer to the southern spawn a bit more if you want. Just get us some extra damage on this guy. And then if you want, you can come through here. And I don't really think it's worth it to trap that out with any BGHs. We have some in the alcove over there. And so, as long as they don't have a Swifty, who is right here,
The enemy's boss is dead.
I don't have anything to worry about.
The rift will be
Perfect timing, Swifty. Perfect timing.
not belong here.
And because everything that actually survives this gauntlet that we set up here is pretty much earth elementals, we only have to stand here and then shoot a few lightning blasts at them. Everybody else dead. They're gone. No longer have to worry about them.
Good spot for this. Good spot for this.
Watch out! An unstable rift is opening. Get to it and destroy
And that is
it.
probably the only thing you ever have to worry about, but due to the lovely BGH ballista's effects,
Well done.
they're wrecked
Unstable
already.
rift has been destroyed.
And remember that as long as nothing flips over here, this is pretty freaking safe.
Right there. Perfect. They will not reach the
Wow, they seem to have some issues actually targeting the little bouncy ball magics at the Guardian there. Unexpected benefits.
This is the final wave.
This should be pretty easy. Here's the bouncer bear. He doesn't have anybody to run to right now.
Our barricades are under attack.
Hirelings are blowing themselves up for no reason.
They've destroyed our barricades.
That you do have to worry about. I think the only thing we have going through here right now, though, is that these couple terracotta giants, everything else will have gone far enough that they're not going to change the pathing, and so you really just don't have to worry about them.
Barricades are under attack.
And then he goes boof. Don't believe I really have to even do anything here. They'll get themselves killed on all the ballistas.
I am not. I would.
But there we go.
But I am suffering from hope. They will not pass.
Alright, just got the Master Summoner achievement. Summon 100 Rift Shards with Cygnus. I know I've summoned over 100, I just probably haven't done it since they had released that achievement. So that's pretty nice. By the way, damage between me and the traps is pretty even, and that's because the fire damage reduction on the base soldiers is actually pretty hefty. You lose about 1/3 of the damage that they would normally do on those guys. And an extra health siphon, nice. But that is the castle gates. We're going to move on to the Academy sewers. Historically one of my favorite levels, and there was one variant of it that actually got pretty hard, and that was due to a bug in the way that they coded it for one patch. But basically there was a single wave where when the enemies were supposed to come out of a single gate, they came out of both gates. So you had 2 bosses and 2 full sets of enemies, and it was nuts. But either way, we'll be doing that next, and that should be pretty fun. If you guys have anything that you'd like to see, any questions, any concerns, or just, you know, ideas about other games that you want to see on the channel, feel free to drop those in the comments. I like to read through those, and I do take those requests into consideration. That's how we got Doom and Bioshock and everything else in there, as well as finishing up some of the other games that I played in the past. But yeah, either way, thanks for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate it, and until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and have a good one, folks.